Think of Google Glass as a personal heads-up display, glasses with most of the abilities of your cell phone. You're able to send and receive calls, text, videos, and pictures. You're able to access your email, record notes, play music, and get directions while never having to reach for your phone. On April 13, 2012, Sergey Brin, co-founder of Google and now Special Projects developer, wore what was at the time called Project Glass to a charity event, the first time Glass had been seen by the public. 2 months later, at Google's developer conference, Glass's abilities were shown to the public by stunt teams. Individuals were skydiving out of planes, bikers jumped off the roof of the conference center, and someone rappelled down the side of the building while wearing glass, all while the video from their heads was being shown inside the conference. It's quite a spectacle for the product's unveiling. Just under a year later, the first glasses were sent to individuals who Google refers to as explorers. These people would help develop and find bugs for Google, while also increasing the media exposure of the product. Until December 17, 2013, Glass was only able to be used with phones that ran the Android operating system. On this date, Google released the Mirror API to developers and also had their My Glass app published onto the iTunes Store. Sadly, iOS users are still unable to send or receive SMS messages with Glass at this current time. January 27th of this year saw Google release new frames for Glass. These frames allowed people to wear prescription glasses while using this technology. Finally, April 15th saw the release of Google Glasses to the masses. All anyone has to do now is plug down $1,500 for the product and it is theirs for the taking. Glass works by taking many components used in cell phones and shrinking them to fit into a package that weighs 50 grams, approximately the weight of a golf ball. Imagine taking the lenses out of a set of prescription glasses, adding a mini projector to the front right part of the frame, and adding a battery behind your ear to help balance that side out. Images are projected onto the LCD screen using optical waveguides, much like used in old arcade games. The image simulates viewing a 25-inch high-def screen from 8 feet away. To the right of the LCD screen is a 5-megapixel camera that's also able to shoot 720p video. The side of the unit holds the circuit cards and 12 gigabytes of memory that's available for applications, movies, and pictures. This also holds the Bluetooth and Wi-Fi controllers for external data use. The side of the frame is a capacitive touch sensor. Initial tap of the sensor activates Google Glass. You may also tilt your head up as if you were acknowledging someone to activate it. You are able to swipe left or right to move between cards displayed on the screen, tap to select the card, or swipe down to cancel or go back. Glass may also be controlled by voice commands such as take a picture, send message to, or give me directions to. As it is labeled, the power button is on the inner part of the touchpad. A simple push turns the system on or off. The battery is held behind the ear. Also, if you notice the bump on the aft portion, that is the bone conducting speaker. This sends vibrations into your inner ear through your skull instead of using loud noises. Others around you are unable to listen in with this type of speaker. Generally, one may assume that the persons most likely to purchase Google Glass might be the typical Google enthusiast or your average tech geek with some disposable income to throw at new hardware. But one might be wrong. It was used in 2013 to livecast a medical procedure to 150 doctors over 3 continents. The airline, Virgin Atlantic, has used it to provide their high-end passengers with a better customer service experience. Even the NBA has gotten into the act, using the glasses as part of their entertainment package. Players wear the device during warm-up, giving fans a player eye view of what they're going through by broadcasting it onto a monitor. During the game, celebrities and cheerleaders wear the device to help show the action from the courtside view as well. The largest issue with Google Glass revolves around the questions of privacy of individuals around a user of Glass. The most worrisome part is that people believe they are always being recorded or able to be looked up automatically with facial recognition software. Another issue is the use of the device while driving. Many states do not allow the use of the video screens while in motion, which is easily done with Glass. A California woman was initially pulled over for speeding, but was cited for that once the officer saw that she was wearing Glass. The court later threw out the charge as there was no proof that Glass was in use while she was driving. The following video shows one of the rougher encounters an individual wearing Glass has received.
Video. Okay, it's on video now. Okay, it's...
Three quick areas of possible future use are in the academic field, the medical field, and finally to assist people with a degenerative disease. Glass can be used in the academic field to give a virtual tour or tutorial on how to find scholastic information from a librarian's point of view. In the medical field, a doctor could look up a patient's notes, MRIs, or x-rays while never having to remove their hand from the patient or touch near their eye. An individual with Parkinson's disease would be able to use the voice commands as well to their advantage. They could send a text with just their voice commands instead of fumbling around and trying to use a touchscreen on a phone. As with most audiovisual technology, the uses of glass are only limited by the user's imagination. Only the future will show us what someone will think up next.
Welcome to News Desk on SiliconANGLE TV for Tuesday, May 14th, 2013. I'm Kristen Folletti. For the second year in a row, SiliconANGLE will be broadcasting exclusive content from Google's development conference, Google I/O, in San Francisco this week. Joining us now to discuss Google's place in the tech ecosystem is Wikibon senior analyst Stu Miniman. Hi, Stu. Thanks for joining us.
Good morning, Kristen. Good to be here.
As we know, Google I/O is a developer conference. Stu, can you explain what a developer conference is and how it's different from a typical technology company user conference?
Sure, Kristen. So if you look at EMC World last year that were at, or SAP Sapphire or ServiceNow Knowledge, what it is the vendor that makes a product and their partner ecosystem really talking to the end users that use their product. Google I/O is very different. As you said, it's a developer conference. What Google does is it builds platforms. So while most people think of Google from its search capability or from the Android phones, they've really built a whole lot of products that people develop software and integrate and work their products with. So not just Android, Chrome, they've got Google Plus, YouTube, the Google Maps, Google Ads, Google Wallet. They're doing stuff in the cloud, and of course everybody's talking about Google Glass. So all of these pieces are software products that have APIs and things to develop in. Google's got a very well-developed developer lab, and they work really close with the developer products because Google is just a software company, and one of those foundational web companies today.
Explain how Google's technology spans consumer and business.
Yeah, so we all know that, of course, business users not only use Android phones and are using the search, but Google Apps really fits into a lot of companies' environments. In many ways, Google's trying to erode what Microsoft has and doing it in the cloud. So they've got their cloud platform that they've been building up and have lots of services that business user could use from the analytics standpoint to understand what companies have, as well as all of those things that the partner ecosystem develops on top of things like Maps and Chrome, YouTube, and all the ads that are done. I mean, Google's one of the largest web advertising companies out there, which is where still the vast majority of its revenue is made today.
Stu, does Google have a play when it comes to cloud and big data?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of the things that people look at is, how's that transition from kind of the internet and web to the cloud? And Google is right in that space. As we've been watching really closely, Amazon's AWS is the leader in cloud, and while lots of big companies like IBM and HP and EMC have competing solutions out there, it's really Google's cloud, and the Google Compute Engine (GCE) is probably the only competitor that Amazon really watches closely. Everybody probably remembers back last November when reInvent was happening, Google actually dropped their pricing, and that caused Amazon to drop their pricing twice on their cloud solutions. So Google doesn't get a lot of mention, but it is a real threat in the cloud marketplace. And it could really be argued that Google was the first big data company. MapReduce is the underlying technology that allows Google search to happen, and out of that really came what Yahoo and Hadoop, built out of there. So, Google is really one of the first big data companies. It is, an important player in the cloud. And when Wikibon did its big data market forecast, Google had a prominent mention there because if you look at kind of the infrastructure that Google lays out, they actually spent over $1 billion on infrastructure for really its big data solution in under a quarter. So they're really a big player, but behind the scenes in a lot of ways.
What's your take on Google's efforts in social media like Google Plus?
Yeah, so it's kind of interesting. I've been a big user of Google's ecosystem for many years. Like many, I'm lamenting the fact that Google Reader is going to go away because it's still the way that I kind of interact with the blogs and some of the news that I get. But Google Plus. It's a platform that's probably not as exciting as Facebook or Twitter, or even getting kind of the niche market of kind of Groupon or even Pinterest. But Google Plus is one of the ways that you really need to make sure you're getting your content out there. Those in the know are aware that Google Plus has a significant impact on how Google search happens, and there are growing people using Google Plus, even though it definitely hasn't taken the world by storm. So I'd give kind of a mixed review on Google Plus. Google really looks at it as one of the other pieces of its whole ecosystem with the search, integration with YouTube. Hangout is a useful tool, but it definitely hasn't knocked off any of the other social competitors out there.
We've covered Google Glass on our program, and it's clearly one of the most anticipated gadgets in recent years. What sort of impact do you see Google Glass having?
Yeah, so there's kind of two big waves that we've been talking about in the industry for the last couple of years that Google Glass is right at the center of. One is augmented reality, and the second is wearable computing. So while I love to see the memes that Google Glass is only going to be for white geeky people out there, it really is kind of pushing the limits as to where computing has gone. In many ways, Apple iPhone really transformed the way phones and turned the whole smartphone revolution on its head, and the iPad drove. Google Glass has the potential to be, the game changer in wearable computing. It's a great form factor. It seems a little expensive, and the early reviews out from people who've been playing with it are gushing. If you go read Robert Scoble's analysis of having used it, I think for his first 2 months, he's like, I never want to take it off. So there's excitement on it. I would question whether or not this will really get into the mainstream, or if you're only going to have the people that have, kind of the love of the gadgets and the technology. As a parent, I, sure wouldn't want, my child or teenager, using Google Glass anytime soon. But it's very early, and Google definitely is, driving the conversation in this marketplace, and is one that everybody will be watching real closely.
Well, Stu, thanks so much for taking the time to join us this morning. Great to have you as always.
Thanks so much.
And coming up on News Desk, first, Wikibon principal research contributor Jeff Kelly will join us to fill us in on what we can expect from Sapphire Now. We looked